Hey everybody, how's it going? I've got a brand new music video reaction / review coming at you today, and this one is for She Is by Jonghyun of SHINee, but obviously this is a solo release, so let's jump right in and check it out. Here we go. This sounds very SHINee.
자꾸만 눈 너의 눈빛에 drive 좀 진한 눈썹 나는 그런 게 drive 마치 발음도 다
Oh, he's saying oh she is.
나부터 열까지 다 Oh sweet love 흐르는 candle up 조용히
Got that halftime double time thing going on again, or halftime regular time.
가만히 눈만 마주쳐도 너만 보면 미치겠어
Really cool harmonies there in the pre-chorus.
나는 그런 게 좋아 좀 비슷한 너의 입술이 좋아 나는 그런 게 좋아 나는 그런 게 좋아
Cool funky bass line too. Really strange video, kind of interesting though.
남들로나답게 보일지 신경 쓰지 않아 눈빛만 바라봐도 I say alright 아무것도
Cool like use of a really intense triplet vocal rhythm there.
나는 그런 게 좋아 넌 당황하지 마 이건 당연하잖아 네 눈에 못 났대도 난 좋아 너의 모든 게 You know that 자꾸만 눈 너의 눈빛에
Really interesting transition there.
나는 그런 게 좋아 좀 비슷한 너의 입술이 좋아 나는 그런 게 좋아 나는 그런 게 좋아 숨기지 말아줘 넌 내가 안달난 거 알면서 그러는 거 절절 다른 남자 so many 알면서 그러는 거 No, 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 babe
I also really like that kind of call and response feel, even though it's a solo track. There's no one else singing with him. He still managed to incorporate like a giant call and response motif throughout the vocals. And that was a really cool vocal run too that then got mirrored by the response. And it looks like that's about it. Oh, that's cool. Huh. Very interesting, kind of an artsy song and music video, but that's something that I expect from Jonghyun. That's something that he definitely seems to be interested in with his own personal style. And overall, I think the song is actually really cool. Some of those harmonies, the background vocals, were extremely involved, and even though they were a little bit muffled out, a little bit carved out, probably with EQ, to make sure that they stayed behind the lead vocal, they're still pretty present in the song and really showed off what he could do vocally, almost more than some of the lead vocals. The backing track was kind of interesting. They did borrow like a lot of the sort of triplet figures, you know, halftime, regular time, or regular time, double time, depending on how you want to look at it. They borrowed that kind of stuff from more modern trap or hip-hop music, but the overall style and aesthetic of the song was much more like groovy funk. So it's cool how they kind of combined some influences that you don't always see combined in that way. But having said all of that, I do have some complaints and issues with the song as well. The way that he phrased the main sort of motif, the main lyric of the song, which is she is, they kind of ran and merged that together into one word really fast. So it was like, she is. I don't even know if I can say it correctly. And for anyone who's a native English speaker, that probably sounds kind of strange because you might say she's going to the store, like a contraction, or you might say she is going to the store, she is going to the store. Even if you say it quickly, it doesn't really turn into she's going to the store. You know what I mean? So I'm not really blaming Jonghyun for this. I don't know how well or not well he speaks English, but you'd think with SM being such a big company, if they're going to use English words, especially as the main motif, the main title phrase of the song, that they'd have someone who's fluent in English sitting there to help consult and make sure everything kind of goes over smoothly. Because besides sounding a little bit strange as an English phrase, it also sounds a little bit awkward just as a musical phrase, like where the words fell in relation to the beats. So I definitely think that could have been improved. And the other thing that was a little bit weird to me, obviously they were going for kind of a laid back, lower energy aesthetic for this song. I totally understand that, but as I always say to you guys, you know, I'm a big fan of really exciting, intense music. They weren't going for that in this track. I can totally understand that. That's fine. It's a personal preference thing. But they went like so close so many times, like especially in the chorus, to kind of crossing that line and going into like a more funky, nodding your head sort of dancing groove rather than that more laid back groove, that it kind of got frustrating to me, and it almost sounded like it was lacking a little bit of energy or a little bit of something, because they were like teasing you like, we're almost going to make it a little more exciting, but we're just not going to quite go there. So stylistically, I think it was sending a little bit of a mixed message where it sets up the listener to crave a little bit more intensity, like it's really going to be going somewhere. They definitely tease us with that kind of a feeling, but then they never deliver on it. So if that's what they did on purpose and they were going for leaving the listener kind of dissatisfied and with a little bit of tension, like, hey, where was that next part that I kind of expected that I was going to hear next, then they definitely accomplished that. But I'm not sure if that's what they were intending to do, or if they were just like trying to have it right on the edge of a little bit more intense, but also keep it kind of more laid back. So let's jump back into the song, listen again, and I'll try to point out some of those things as they occur. Here we go. Right from the beginning, I actually thought this song, out of all the solo SHINee tracks from those members that have come out recently, I think this song is the most SHINee sounding. Taemin's songs definitely kind of had his own flavor. This obviously is very Jonghyun sounding as well, but I think this song is the closest to something that SHINee as a group would release that any of the members have released solo. And right from the beginning, you know, really huge production, really nice frequency balance. It's not super over compressed, but it's still very loud and you know, exciting enough. But it's not like over limited to where it's getting crunchy and kind of distorted and nasty sounding. Just a nice balance of everything. I think one of the main teases for that like higher energy point that I keep talking about that the song never really went to is sort of those up picks on the slap bass part. It just, with the beat and everything that takes off in the chorus, it really makes you feel like, you know, that bass is going to start going into more subdivisions, and it's just going to take off with the motion of the song and kind of the emotional energy and everything else. But it never goes there. They keep sort of reining it back in and giving it that more chill, laid back vibe. You know that. Super cool transition there. It's almost like, it almost gives you the feel of like stop time, where you drop everything out of the backing track. Just very, very effective kind of musically artsy stuff. It's fun. And then again here, it feels like it's really building towards something. Like the next section's gonna be super high energy. It's really gonna take off. And then hear how instead of really taking off, they go back to low energy. And I'm gonna pause it here for a second and run it back a little bit, because there's something else here that I want you guys to notice that I think was maybe like the high point of the song. So here we are at the bridge, and as I mentioned before, there's some really cool like call and response vocals. Even though it's just him, you know, they're not doing call and response between different members in the group like you could do in SHINee. This is a solo track, but he's still managing to give like the listener a call and response thing and kind of highlighting it with his own background vocals. So check this out. It's really slick how they fit this into the songwriting and arrangement. there's the response. Really, really clever stuff.
One more time, baby.
But again, every time you expect like that high energy sort of apex of the song, it just is replaced with something that's lower energy on purpose. It's a little bit frustrating for me. Like, it's one thing to make your listener really like crave something, but it's another thing to sort of tease them with something and then never deliver it. So I think this song kind of was on that fine line and might have gone over the line a little bit, at least for me personally. Also a lot of reverb. You can hear the tails there on the vocals. I think there's a little bit more reverb on this track than a lot of modern pop or K-pop songs. Usually delay is utilized a little bit more because it's cleaner. It doesn't clutter the mix so much and kind of wash over the mix, but this track actually has quite a bit of reverb on it, especially towards the end there and in the backing vocals. So that's kind of an interesting production choice, but they managed to keep that reverb, you know, in a little space and it's not washing over and kind of making the rest of the track hard to hear and understand what's going on behind it. So overall, I think it was a really well-written and well-produced track. There were some things in there that kind of teased the listener, and depending on your personal preference, it may have frustrated you like it did to me. And then, of course, there's the seemingly ever-present issue in SM songs of strangely phrased English. And again, as I've said before, I think it's great that they're trying to put English phrases in their songs. You know, they're trying to appeal to a much bigger market globally. I always applaud anyone for trying that. I know it's extremely hard to make even little sections of music in a different language. It's something that's super difficult, but at the same time, I am positive that SM has the resources and the knowledge to kind of check over that, safeguard it, and make sure that it's flowing really, really well. Because unfortunately, with a lot of English-speaking fans, especially in the United States, first impressions are everything, and even if the people otherwise like the song, if there's English that's a little bit questionable, that's something that many people are going to fixate on, and that's just going to turn off a switch in their mind and then they'll stop listening to it. This is something that I've seen happen and observed many times when watching people listen to music from other parts of the world. And as you guys all know, I'm very pro K-pop regardless of the group or the company, and I would definitely like to see K-pop artists succeed in the United States a lot more. So this criticism is really coming from a place where I'm trying to help and trying to make their success more possible. So anyway, thanks so much for watching this music video reaction/review. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you could share this video all over the place, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, forums, all that stuff really helps me out, and I'll see you guys next time.